Oh boy, I'm really elbow deep into the AN cars this summer. Here we probably have the most AN of all AN cars, the most dad of all dad cars, a 2014 Toyota Camry SC with plenty of miles on it. So, I had this big long skit that was supposed to be at the start of this video, but I don't know. I don't think skits are really like my kind of thing. Anyways, it was about the Toyota Camry just being a dad car. This, a Toyota Camry, like a Honda Accord, is a quintessential dad car. Last year I touched upon the Honda Accord, the first of the two-pronged Japanese brand attack on the American midsize sedan. While the American midsize sedans were rapidly becoming large, bloated, and poorly built machines, Honda and Toyota were busy taking their midsize offerings, tailoring them to American tastes, and building them with the same pride and quality of their smaller offerings. This led to the impossible happening. First, Honda taking the coveted top-selling car in America title from 1989 to 1991, then Toyota's Camry taking the title from Ford's Taurus in 1997, and other than the Accord returning to the top in 2001, has held the title ever since. The Camry is that ubiquitous. The Camry was first introduced as a four-door offshoot of the Celica known as the Celica Camry. It was essentially a sportier version of the Toyota Carina. The name Camry is derived from the Japanese word Ganmuri, which I'm sure I'm pronouncing wrong, a traditional Japanese cap worn by the imperial family and government officials on rare occasions such as a wedding, and gained prominence during the Meiji Restoration. The name follows Toyota's Crown naming convention that started with, well, the Crown, and continued to other models such as the Corona and the Corolla. The first standalone generation Camry was introduced in 1982 in Japan, and was introduced in 1983 in the United States as a replacement for the Corona here. The Camry grew to a proper midsize for its third generation in the States in 1992, and by the time the fourth generation hit in 1997, it had proudly taken over America's choice for the midsize dad sedan. The competition was fierce during this era of midsize sedan, an era I'll affectionately call the Jelly Bean design era. The biggest perpetrator at the time was the third generation Ford Taurus, with its striking design of everything being an oval of some sort. But sales of that model started to slip after a strong debut year in 1996, allowing the conservatively designed Camry to take the top role. Chevrolet's Lumina also went through a bubbly redesign in 1995, but it never had the market share the Taurus had. Finally, there was the resurgent Dodge, who would finally leave the K-car platform of the 1980s with the introduction of the Ford-designed Stratus in 1995. But it itself would never fight for any of the market share at the top of the heap like the Camry, Accord, or Taurus. Meanwhile, Toyota's Camry, having been built in Georgetown, Kentucky since 1989, was perfectly designed for the American buyer. It was the perfect size, offered decent power for its V6 models, its four-cylinder models offering great fuel mileage, and Toyota dependability that you could take to the bank. This would become probably Toyota's most important model in the United States for many years, only recently being unseated by the RAV4 and the Highlander due to the sedan apocalypse, and of course was the natural choice for Toyota to use for their 2007 step into NASCAR's top levels. This is a pre-refresh model of the 10th generation of the Toyota Camry. Chassis code XV50, the 10th generation was introduced in August of 2011 as a 2012 model, and went through a major refresh for its 2015 model year. There were three available engine choices in the 2014 Camry: the base 2.5-liter 2AR-FE 4-cylinder that produced 178 horsepower and 170 foot-pounds of torque, the optional 3.5-liter 2GR-FE V6 that produced 268 horsepower and 248 foot-pounds of torque, or a hybrid model with the 2.5-liter 2AR-FXE 4-cylinder that produced a combined horsepower rating of 200 horsepower. The base 2.5 was EPA rated for 25 city, 35 highway, while the LE hybrid models got a respectable 43 city and 39 highway. This was the first Camry that wasn't available with a manual transmission, and all models outside of the hybrid got the ECTI 6-speed automatic, The hybrid itself got Toyota's eCVT transmission. As mentioned before, this is a 2014 Camry SE. The SE was the mid-level model for the Camry, and is one of 5 trims for the Camry at the time, who had the base L, the next level LE, the middle sporty-themed SE, the even sportier SE Sport, and the luxury-minded XLE. The hybrid got 2 trim levels, LE and XLE. The SE got a sport quote-unquote tuned suspension, either 17-inch or 18-inch alloy wheels depending on the engine, a leather-wrapped steering wheel and shift knob, sporty seats, and paddle shifters to manually shift the car. On the road, the Camry is inoffensive, as it should be. Yeah, it could use a little more power as the naturally aspirated 2.5-liter 4 feels a tad lazy compared to modern turbocharged engines, but it's more than adequate for this car. The 6-speed auto does a fine job being a 6-speed auto, and it only really shifts hard when you hammer the throttle and it downshifts. But the car itself is as fine and as solid as you'd expect from a Toyota product. Unlike, say, a period Nissan Maxima, which has Nissan's infamously bad CVT and reminds you every given second that it's a badly tuned CVT. Nothing in the interior is rattling, and the only rattle you do hear is the right front inner fender shaking a boot due to a former friend of the owner who had backed into the car last year and has since ghosted him since the incident after promising to get it fixed. The owner, James, bought this car in 2018 with a little over 107,000 miles on the odometer. This car replaces his previous car, a 2015 Maxima, after that car was totaled when he struck a parked Chevy S10 in the middle of the night that was partially in the travel lane on a blind corner in Alabama. Luckily, he was okay from that wreck. His dad, a longtime Nissan salesman, told him to steer clear of Nissans and their CVTs, because, yeah, if you want my opinion on those cars, check out my previous video on the A35 Nissan Maxima that I put out last year. The purchase for the replacement came down to this Camry and a 2014 Hyundai Sonata with similar miles, with the Camry selling for about $12,000 and the Sonata having an asking price of $8,500. In the end, Toyota's stellar reputation was worth the extra money for him, and he proudly walked out with the Camry. The only mechanical issues he's had in the 4 years and the 100,000 miles he's put on it was having to replace the torque converter 3 months ago, which turns out that this was a problem year for those Camrys and said converters. But the rest of it is mainly cosmetic. There's the previously mentioned road rash on the right front from that former friend, and scuffs on the hood from another friend who tried pranking poor James by stacking cardboard boxes on his car and, of course, leaving scratches on it. Like, yeah, nice joke, dude. Thanks. But yeah, this has been and will continue to be a solid car for James. He currently plans on putting another 100,000 miles on it before he replaces it as his daily, and it's currently serving him and his girlfriend's only mode of transportation at the moment, as her Jeep is currently sitting with a blown engine, because Jeep things. What other car he does plan on buying simply intends on being a third car for them, and this Camry will serve him well in the future. This is why people buy Toyota Camrys. They are built to be abused like most Toyota products. This is a car you can buy and only have to worry about scheduled oil changes and tune-ups. This dependability is why the Camry is still the best-selling car in America despite the sedanocalypse. Even with more and more people going towards trucks and SUVs, the Camry still sold 313,795 Camrys in the United States alone last year. Those are numbers most manufacturers would kill for at the height of the dad sedan, let alone when the dad sedan is becoming more and more of an endangered species. 2014 Toyota Camry SE, proudly carrying the torch for the dad sedan. Have a good day, everyone. Thank you once again for watching another episode of Wookie Drives. This week's episode comes courtesy of James of Mooresville, North Carolina. You can check him out on TikTok and Twitter at GoTeamBurton for all his antics. If you have a car or truck you'd like to see on the show and happen to be in and around Charlotte or Mooresville, North Carolina, feel free to email me at wookiedrives@gmail.com with your car. That's right, submit your car by emailing me at wookiedrives@gmail.com. That is wookiedrives@gmail.com. Go ahead and follow the official Facebook page for channel updates. Follow my Twitter and Instagram at WookieAutomoTV for rants, raves, and overall Wookie shenanigans. Follow my TikTok also at WookieAutomoTV for just random small videos that don't feel fit on the bigger channel. Lately, it's mostly been dog videos of Tommy Pickles. Finally, don't forget to give the video a like. Drop a comment with some feedback. Any feedback is good feedback in my opinion. It really just helps me better my craft, and any sort of interaction with these videos really helps my channel grow. Share with all your Toyota Camry friends, and finally, don't forget to hit that bell and hit that subscribe button for more Wookie drives like these. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good day.
Power was very important to me. We test drove the Camry, took it on the freeway, and it was just like, this was the car for me.
It had stuff that guys liked, like the rims and the sleekness to the body, and then had the Bluetooth and the navigation that Diane really wanted.
And it was a sports edition, so it felt really grounded to the ground.
Grounded to the ground?
Yes, grounded to the ground.
See their story and more at the Camry Effect. Camry from Toyota.